Yes, Prabhu, you can start.
Able to see my screen?
Yes, I'm able to see the screen.
Just a second, Prabhu. Okay, we can get started. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Today we will be discussing on verse number 39 and 40 from third canto, chapter 25, the glories of devotional service. Imam lokam tatayvamum atmanam ubhayayinam atmanam anuye cheha yerayah parashvo gruhaha Vishruja Sharan Anyamascha Mam Ivam Viva Visvato Mukam Bhajanti Ananya Bhaktya Tan Mrityor Ati Pare Raye. Word to word translation. Imam, this, Lokam, world, Tata, accordingly, Iva, certainly, Amum, that world, Atmanam, the subtle body, Ubaya, in both, Ainam, traveling, Atmanam, the body, Anu, in relationship with, Ye, those who, Cha, also, Iha, in this world, Ye, that which, Rayaha, wealth, Pashvaha, cattle, Gruhaha, houses, Vishrujya, having given up, Sarvan, all, Anyan, other, Cha, and Mam, me, Evam, thus, Visvataha Mukham, all pervading Lord of Universe. Bhajanti, they worship. Ananya, unflinching, Bhaktya, by devotional service. Tan, them. Mrityoho, of death. Atiparaye, I take to the other side. Translation. Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Before we jump on to purport, I would like to recite small prayers. Om Ajnananda Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Ulmittam Yena Sri Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Padityanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrupatam aham vande Shri Gurum Vinatarinam. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as all in all. Since Supreme Lord is all inclusive, if anyone worships him with unflinching faith, he has automatically eschewed all other opulences and performed all other duties. The Lord promises here in that he takes his devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended that one who aspires to go beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. This means that one should not try to be happy in this world or to be promoted to heavenly world, nor should he try for material uh, wealth, children, houses, and cattle. I'll pause here for a while because it's a long purport. We'll discuss on each paragraph basis. So, as we can see in the previous verse, one of the verses, Lord Kapila says to Mother Devahuti, Bhakti dissolves the subtle body. So this subtle body is a product of this material world, which is not our identity, either this body, gross body, or the subtle body. And the uh, person actually behind these coverings of material and the subtle body, the soul, is either spiritual, the real spiritual identity. All these coverings are temporary. This gross body is like a machine. It has some functionality to it. It lives for some time, and after that it gets deteriorated, and after certain time it gets it gets retarded, and again accepts the actual person behind it, the spiritual soul. It takes an again another mission, and again the cycle keeps continues on. So whatever the endeavor that a the person is doing, it will only going to be a temporary for that particular mission that a soul is currently residing in. After that, it's not going to carry forward. Just like if someone is going to a like a long car trip, and sometimes they need to use a restroom on some of the small rest areas on the highway. So the soul journey is like that. We have a long journey ultimately to reach to the supreme personality of the Godhead and perform a loving devotional service to Him. That is the actual destination of the soul. And as a person, while traveling on the uh, highway in the long journey, stops at the restroom, he has to just finish his job that is actually required for that, for his journey to continue, and again resume back by getting onto his journey. If he's such a foolish guy, if one he just attached to the location and he wants to have a want to stay there for a long time and just get attached to it, that is something he's not making a worthy of his journey. He's actually stopping his own journey to reach the actual destination. That anyway, that will not a permanent place, and at certain point of time he's forced to leave anyway. Just like the homeless people will get forced to leave from any properties of the government. End of the day, government will kick them out. Similarly, the Maya or this nature, if you try to hover on the material positions, Krishna comes as a form of a time, and he forces us to leave that particular everything that we think that is a real. So that is a bigger illusion. So one of the Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, one of the primary responsibility of a spiritual master is thoroughly convince the students or the disciples and provide an abject futility in finding happiness in the material world, which means that want to convince the disciples or the students that this material place is not a place for ultimate happiness. It is all temporary and it's all illusionary, and it always comes in with the package. Like whenever there is a whenever there is a pleasure, it also comes with some misery along. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. Nothing is nothing. This is a place of miseries, and at the same time, nothing is permanent here. Everything keeps changing, and this is not the actual place for ultimate enjoyment. as even it applicables for the people who are coming from a very wealthier family, and at the same time who actually coming from a very miserable. Everyone in this world, irrespective of the wealth status, they have their own problems, and they always have some kind of a suffering in a different degree. So that is one of the duty of the spiritual master, to convince that reality to the disciples or the students. So by the process of bhakti, the bhakti process is so wonderful. Just by performing the bhakti, we don't need to do another separate endeavor to renunciate all this attachment to the illusionary or the materialistic positions. Just by doing the bhakti, it's not only brings closer to the Lord, but at the same time, it dissolves the tendency to have the it will also dissolve the tendency to lord out the material energies. So that is the actual Sambandha Gyan that a spiritual uh, guide or a spiritual master that imparts to impart to the disciples, to understand what is the real relationship, what is the real substance. The real substance is my relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the topmost important, and my ultimate purpose of life is to please Him in whatever the activities that we are doing in our day-to-day life, and that takes care of everything. That is the ultimate thing. So how this can be achieved, it was discussed in the previous verse. By listening is the first step in the Navavidhi Bhakti process. Shravanam, Kirtanam, uh, Prahlad Maharaj says the Shravanam is the topmost thing. Just by hearing the Lord pastimes, one can issue the topmost perfection. Just like Prahlad Maharaj and many other great souls who done it, as we seen in in other Bhagavatam chapters. The listening has such a great potency because the Lord pastimes are not myth, or it is not given for people who has less intelligence and they can able to remember the Lord pastimes by these wonderful made up stories. No, it is actually the real stories. It is actually the stories that have potency to change the heart and able to transform the heart, and in ultimately progressing us towards the journey towards Godhead, back to Godhead. And this verse, it talks about having an attachment to the wealth and all. So one might ask, oh Prabhuji, we have to how we can take care of mortgage by becoming a devotee and doing bhakti. Will my mortgage will be taken care by Krishna? One might ask, and it does mean that I have to neglect my kids' education and not to own anything. It does not actually mean it. It actually mean it like, even if I literally by doing it, that is more of like a false renunciation, because anyway nothing, everything belongs to Krishna. All these five elements, all this in the material world we are doing, it's all primarily five elements. Of course, one element being the element of ether or space. If the rest of the elements, earth, water, air, and fire, these are all four elements. Where do they come from? They all came from God. And how can we just by having some artificial, or how can we claim that everything belongs to me? Anyway, it's all belongs to God. Nothing belongs to us. In Prabhupada, in one of the lectures says, like there is a conversation with a person, I believe in US. He says, "Oh, how could be everything belongs to Krishna? The tree, the land, and all the nature. How that can be belong to Krishna? I own a factory, and that belongs to me. How Krishna can be the owner of it?" So then Prabhupada asks, "What is your factory?" I do I do sell sand. Okay, where do you get the sand from? From the land. So where does the land came from? So then the person was surprised. Okay, ultimately I'm actually stealing from the nature, and that nature is ultimately is emitting from Krishna. So basically he's trying to laud it. He's an illusion that it was his own, but it is actually it belongs to Lord Krishna, and he realized that okay, actually nothing belongs to me. Even this body doesn't belong to me. Because of Krishna's grace and because of his mercy, he can able to take birth and able to have the life. So, practical speaking, nothing belongs to God. Nothing belongs to us, and everything belongs to God. My bad. Um, so, what actually belongs to us is the relationship or the devotional service that one has particular rasa towards the God that belongs to us, and one has to um, uh, utilize this life in trying to uh, go on to this journey. And having these materialistic positions should be done not in a falgu vairagya or an artificial renunciation way, but it could be done in the favor of Krishna, Ankulyana Krishna Anusilanam. Like instead of thinking of having a good home, we can think that okay, if I have a nice home, I can practice bhakti nicely, and also I can host programs, and I can also use the serve the Vaishnavas nicely. That is favorable to Krishna consciousness. Of course, one has to do at his own capability, not stretch too much. That's an again, one should not do an over endeavor for the things, and having doing an over endeavor things and chasing after material position, Krishna will not be uh, favor to those people. So it was discussed in prayers of Queen Kunti. Um, I'm referring to the I'm referring to the Bhagavatam verse uh, 1:8-26. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribir, that verse. And if I go to the translation, my Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is in the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with a sincere feeling. So this is very profound. Of course, here Queen Kunti, she is a queen. She has a lot of positions, and she is a mother for wonderful sons. And she is so detached. And the context here is she thinks that whenever there is a trouble for them, Krishna always there. And now once all the troubles is gone, Krishna is associating with them very less. So he thinks that like, I would rather have those troubles in my life so that I can have Krishna association more than having everything nice in my life and getting away from it. So this is such a great prayers, right? A great relation throughout as we all know that throughout all the hardships that Pandavas has gone through, Krishna is always with them, protecting them directly or indirectly, as always giving their association to the Pandavas. So this is the important relation that what Queen Kunti has found out that okay, if I have a lot of anyone having a lot of hope on or goal on achieving material opulences, they will not Krishna will not be shown. Who because this is all illusionary energy. So Krishna will be not there when there is an illusion. Just like when there is a sun, there is no chance of darkness. As soon as the sun sets, there is a darkness. Even if the sun is there, and if one turns towards the backside of the sun, immediately sees a shadow. Likewise, one who is after this illusionary energy, chasing after all the material positions, they are chasing, they are turning away towards Krishna. As soon as they give up the chasing those things and face towards the Lord, um, he or she will be not only seeing the light or seeing the sun, but even the even goes towards its even the shadow follows. What does it mean? even the prosperity also follows that person. You don't need to chase the shadow. As you chase the shadows keep running up. But if you turn the other side and if you chase towards the sun, the shadow will follow you. Similarly, if one follows bhakti process and try to as described by the under the guidance of a spiritual master by following the bona fide practices, the prosperity will automatically follow. No need to follow anything in specific. That's one of the insight. And in the next verse, she continues to say, "My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monists." So, here the Sanskrit verse, Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. Okay, there one can argue. Okay, if there are some people who are materially not so interested, but they are interested about moksha or the liberation or merging into the Lord, etc., etc. So even for the people who are into Mayavadi or who says that okay, I'm the God, Aham Brahmasmi, they interpret in a different way. Queen Kunti says he's a master of the Monish. So Kaivalya Patiya. Yeah, so even he's God for the persons who thinks that they are God, right? So that is Mother Kunti is addressing it, and she's again telling that uh, who have nothing to do with I mean people who are materially impoverished. That is something is more you know is more favorable than the persons who thinks that having this material things will be the actual shelter instead of taking the real shelter of the God. So it has to be done in a favor of the Lord. Like for example, we are most of the people are working, right? So for working, we are working with the computer, with the monitor, the monitor and computer are on a desk, and they are not paying us the salary, right? We are working for a company. So to be more specific, to some a specific to a specific director or someone who has a vision to do this in a particular area. We are trying to make that vision into a reality, and that is actually ultimately keeping us in the job and paying. It's not like the computer is paying us the job or the table is paying us a job. It is not like a you know all these things um, um, all these things are paying automatically just by working. But what if the director of the company, he's so pleased with you, even though one does an excellent job, but it doesn't pleases the director, versus even though it does a minimal job, but that actually gets the attention of the director of the company, or or that pleases the director of the company. So that actually matters a lot, right? That one might get promoted very easily, and at the same time, no matter what, the other person who has a lot of talent and a lot of skills, a lot of uh, anything that you can think of, but one quality is missing, that he couldn't please the director or he couldn't satisfy the director of the company. He will be not promoted. He will be either get kicked out of the company, or he will be staying in the same place without any this thing, but he'll be serving the same, doing a lot of effort in doing it. While the other person will be keep on getting up the ladder because he knows whom to satisfy and what needs to be done. So similarly, the same principle applies. While we are uh, who is the director here in our actual life, right? So Krishna is the ultimate director, right? So by doing all the duties, material duties, um, we, while doing the material duties in the sense of taking care of the family, taking care of our personal life, taking care of our career, and also one should do in such a way that it has to be in favor of Krishna, that ultimately it pleases or not. That is the ultimate principle that one has to use it like a compass to perform our day-to-day activities. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says Anyabhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam Bhakti Uttamam. The translation goes, when a first-class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires. Knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy and fruitive action. The devotee must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. Just like Krishna and Arjuna, right? Arjuna is in a Sakya's. In the beginning, Arjuna hesitates to fight and he is not sure. And until then, he takes Krishna as like a friend on the same level, but he realizes that he's so helpless and frustrated, and he's not sure about which direction to go ahead. And he finally surrenders to Krishna and accepts Krishna in the role of a guru, and Krishna imparts the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita and hearing all what Krishna has said, all the doubts has been dispelled from in the mind of Arjuna, and he says um, like Karishe Vachanam Tava. Okay, whatever you do, whatever you say, I just follow. And he's acts in a favor of Krishna, even though he's not very um, convinced in the beginning of the battle, but he follows this principle of Anukulya and Krishna. So, okay, if I do the battle, if I uh, even though if I don't like, even though if my relatives on the other side, even though my cousin brothers are on the other side, even though my guru, from whom I taught the military skills is on the other side. Okay, if ultimately if Krishna is getting pissed, okay, never mind, I will just do that. So that is called Ankulyana Krishnaniyam. That is actual renunciation, what Arjuna is doing. He is not doing for the sake of his own personal benefit, but he is doing for the satisfaction of Lord Krishna. And as we all see how Krishna protected Arjuna in so many dangers that while he is fighting the battle, because he has Krishna on his side. And he is trying to please Krishna in all means, and Krishna is more than equally reciprocating to Arjuna by protecting him and being on his favor. And going on to the second paragraph. How liberation is imperceptibly achieved by a pure devotee, and what the symptoms are have been explained. For the conditioned soul, there are two statuses of living. One status is in the present life, and the other is in our preparation for the next life. If I am in the mode of goodness, and then I may be preparing for promotion for higher plans. If I am in the mode of passion, then I shall remain here in a society where activity is prominent. And if I am in the mode of ignorance, I may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for his life or the next life, because in any life he does not desire elevation in material prosperity or a high grade or a low grade life. He prays to the Lord, my dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me born, even as an ant in the house of a devotee. A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from the material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lowest region of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this doesn't mean that in my past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee is therefore always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his suffering made shorter. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction. That is his mercy. But this does not mean that one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord has committed no misdeeds in his past life. A devotee always prays, for my misdeeds, may I be born again and again. But my only prayer is that I may not forget your service. The devotee has that much mental strength and he prays to the Lord, may I be born again and again, but let me born in the home of your pure devotee so that I may again get a chance to develop myself. So this paragraph, wonderful purport, gives an insights what is a mentality or what a devotee thinks. Even though the devotee knows that about the Lord's position and about the bhakti process, he's not puffed up. He knows that there is a most effective way and is following the footsteps what he has Lord has laid out in Bhagavad Gita by following the Bhakti Yoga process. So he thinks as, okay, I am in a one of the topmost, following one of the topmost yoga position, and I'm more superior to other people or even to the materialistic people. I'm going to back to Godhead. He will be not puffed up. He'll be not puffed up like that. He thinks that, oh, by somehow by the mercy of the devotees, somehow by the mercy of the Lord, I get in touch with this bhakti process, even though I am not qualified, even though I am not up to the mark. Somehow I will do because I take shelter of the Lord, and ultimately the Lord will be my deciding factor. Even if I couldn't achieve by my own endeavors, let I be at least be he offers praise to the Lord. At least I will be um, be born in an ant in the family of a pure devotee, so that I can still continue hearing or eat some small prasadam, that grains that might fall on the floor. So that is the actual humble position of a devotee takes. Actually, it is described in one of the most celebrated verse from Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 8th verse. Uh, Tatenu kampam susikshamano verse. So the translation says, it's a prayers of Brahma to Lord. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation. For it has to become his rightful claim. So the purport says, so before I jump onto the purport, let's see one who earnestly waits for you bestow causeless mercy upon it, right? So what let's dissect more on what does earnestly mean as per the dictionary definition. With sincere and intense conviction, uh, seriously, solemnly, gravely, soberly, sincerely, intently, um, resolutely, and firmly. These are all the synonyms that was used. But anyways, the ultimate meaning is with sincere and intense conviction. Okay, so with one who sincere and with intense conviction, he waits for the causeless mercy upon him, right? So he'll have a rightful claim even while having that same firm belief to on the Lord during the calamities. He will have a rightful claim the to his kingdom or for the liberation. So here, the purport, there is a wonderful example given by Sridhar Swami. He explained that a legitimate son has simply remained alive to gain an inheritance from his father. One who simply remains alive in Krishna consciousness, following the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, automatically becomes eligible to receive the mercy of personality of Godhead. In other words, he will be promoted to the kingdom of God. So he says it's very nice example. It's a legitimate son who simply remain alive, gain the inheritance from his father. So what does it mean? A father might have 5 or 6 sons, for example. But if all the sons are like kind of a not so well responsible, and they are into like, for example, I'm giving an extreme example, they are addicted to gambling and drinking and all, and but there is one son who knows how to take the responsibility and carry forward the name of the family. Of course, the father will be automatically be inclined to inherit all the wealth that he acquired to that son who is more responsible and who is well behaved compared to the other people who might going to misuse it. So similarly, this liberation or getting devotional service to the Lord in the spiritual, it's not a small thing. It's a biggest of the biggest of the biggest wealth that one a soul can achieve. So how can that can be achieved just like that, right? One has to be legitimate in the sense, even during the calamities, even during the hardships, even during things doesn't work on the favor, one who always thinks, okay, this is all not because of the Lord, this is all because of my karma that I acquired from the previous lifetimes. And I'm bearing these sufferings, and even though I supposed to suffer more, Lord given me some small portion of it. By his mercy, somehow I'm able to do it. With that mentality, he's thinking. So he's like a legitimate person who actually has a rightful claim on uh, for the liberation, which is such a beautiful example. Want to touch upon it. And going on to if I go to for the interest of time, if I just scroll down to the purport. So he says the purpose of the entire creation of God is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord. And therefore, the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced the activity. So the purpose of a devotee who practices bhakti yoga, and if they have um, any setbacks or anything that was going on, it means that the Lord is trying to somehow giving this to curtail the mentality of the God. We have seen in our personal cases somehow or other we have a lot of problem that was running in mind for a long time, and we don't know how to deal with it. We pray to God, we take the help of our mentors, and we try to struggle to get through it. But ultimately, one day, once we learned the lesson, that is not a problem at all. It will not come to in our life. We can handle it um, like taking a hay of stack, right? So it's like nothing. Until then, it feels like a big burden. It's like a huge ton of weight on our head. But at a certain point of time, once we learned our lesson, it is not a problem at all. So similarly, for my son, right, it's like 2-year-old son, he thinks riding a bicycle with two wheels without any support, it's like a super big challenge for him. He always fears that he will fall down and he'll get mental to it. But once he understood, if I keep moving up, I can able to balance it easily. He tries to play it with more and more. Similarly, because he able to understand, okay, I'm not going to fall if I keep going up, and able to balance by keep touching my foot on the this thing. It is not that bad. Once he learned that, right? Similarly, everything is gone. Um, but until then, one has to be patient enough. So, like when he's going through any kind of suffering, it means that some Lord is trying to curtailing the mentality of that particular person. And once he get over that mentality, that is automatically disappears. Okay, let's continue. Although a devotee has surrendered to Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in um, Krishna consciousness, he may maintain slight inclination to enjoy false happiness in the world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate his remaining enjoying spirit. This unhappiness suffered by a sincere devotee is not technically karmic reaction. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return to home, back to Godhead. So wonderful. And also, Krishna is like a bright like a sun, pure like a uh, uh, like bright like a sun, very powerful, right? So if one wants to go to the sun, of course, one has to become a fire. If you want to be with the fire, you have to be a fire. There is no other alternative, right? So Krishna is the supreme Lord, and he's so pure. If we can't reach Krishna with having the qualities which are not pure, so one has to get purified to get to the qualification of Krishna. So that process of purification sometimes seems to be very hard, but that ultimately gives a biggest the biggest wealth in their life. And like for example, Parikshit Maharaj, he's so fixed. He knows the biggest calamity, that he's going to die in 7 days. So what is biggest calamity that for a person who is about to die, right? He knows that, right? So, but what he has done, he's not agitated. He's not, you know, he's not tried to, even though the Brahmin who curse the small kid who curse, even though his father wants to reverse the curse, or they want to reverse the curse, Parikshit Maharaj will, okay, let it be. This is the arrangement of the Lord. I would accept whatever the arrangement that he made to me. And he was so fixed in the devotional world. He's not worried about the calamity. He's not worried about anything else. He is surrounded with the association of devotees. He practiced bhakti yoga by hearing, like Shravanam, and he completely fixated on God. He's not worried about his wealth because he's the king of the emperor of the world. He has all the riches. He has a most luxurious life, but he's not worried, okay, if I'm dying, I couldn't enjoy all these things. He's a perfect renunciate, right? Because he doesn't do any endeavor to extend his life so that he can enjoy the material portion for a long time, lord it over. No, even though Parikshit Maharaj knows that he has all these options, he accepted the will of the Lord, and he is completely situated, and he finally went back to the Godhead. So this is the one of the qualities of the devotees, who is not so concerned about not being so attached, or not so being attached about this thing, and he firmly believes in Krishna, even at the biggest of the biggest calamities. And going on to the final paragraph, a pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. In any life in which one is born as a householder or even as an animal, one must have some children, some resources, or some possessions. But a devotee is not anxious to possess anything. He is satisfied with whatever he is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or improving the status of education of his children. He is not neglectful. He is dutiful. But he does not spend too much time on the upliftment of temporary household or social life. He fully engages in the service of Lord, and for the other affairs, he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. Yatarham upayinjataha. Such a pure devotee does not care for what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for the family, children, or society. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for him to be immediately transferred to the Lord transcendental abode just after he leaves his body. After quitting his body, he does not go to the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity after death is transferred to the womb of another mother according to his karma or activities to take another type of body. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. How it is possible is explained in the following verses. Because he is all powerful, the Lord can do anything and everything. he can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. So, some devotees, pure devotees on the path of devotion, they are satisfied with what they have, and they don't do over endeavor for getting onto the things, and you waste their time and effort to that. They just accept whatever the ability that I have, let it be it, whatever the things that do they would come to me by the will of the God. I let they will, but I will on my side I will do my duty. I will try to please the Lord in my day-to-day activities, do my bhakti, and it's up to the Lord who decides what or how much things that I would like to have and how not like to have. And also it is uh, one of the principles of the bhakti laid out by Shri Rupa Goswami, that one shouldn't endeavor too much for what he couldn't, what he couldn't possess. So there is a verse in this purport from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 16.238. यावता स्यात् स्वनिर्वाहः स्वीकुर्यात् तावदर्थवित् आधिक्ये न्यूनतायां च चावते परमार्थः. The bare necessity of life must be accepted, but one must not surplusly increase his necessities, nor should they be unnecessarily decreased. One should not simply accept one should simply accept what is necessary to help one advance spirituality. So the next paragraph in Durga Sangamani, Jiva Goswami comments that the word Swanirvaha actually means Swa Bhakti Nirvaha. The experienced devotee will accept only those material things that will help him to render the service unto the Lord. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.256, Markata Vairagya or Falgu Vairagya is explained as follows. Go to the translation. When person eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be a material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Whatever is favorable for the rendering of service to the Lord should be accepted and should not be rejected as a material thing. Yukta Vairagya or befitting renunciation is thus explained. Anasakta Vishayan Yatarham Upayunjitaha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Chate. So it was mentioned in the purport about Yatarham Upayunjitaha. It says one, he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. So this purport explains this purport goes a little bit deeper into it. Things should be accepted for the Lord's service and not for one's personal sense gratification. If one accepts something without attachment and accepts it because it is related to Krishna, one's renunciation is called Yukta Vairagya. Since Krishna is absolute truth, whatever is accepted for his service, it is also an absolute truth. So, and also in the Brahma Samhita prayers, right? So, one of the purport of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, at the end, he says, we do have to do our spiritual duties as well as material duties, and he has a categories of what duties one has to do. But everything needs to be dovetailed to the Krishna. One has to be every activity needs to be harmonious to the other. Whatever the activities what we do, we have to make sure the bhakti lata will be not destroyed. Less like we are having a tulsi plant in the home, right? So during the winter time, we have to make sure, okay, it is well protected, not get dried up, all the leaves are gone. We have to make sure it still get the sunlight. we have to take care. Similarly, while we are doing the other activities in our life, we have to always be cognizant about how this will be impacting my bhakti. Will it be favorable or will it be not so favorable? If it is not favorable, we have to simply stay away from it and only accept the things that is favorable for it. So that what this verse talks about. Ittaham vairagya uchyate. And also, and in the coming to an end, and in the final verse, it says how it talks about taking the bhajanti Vishwatomukam bhajanti ananya bhaktya tan mrityor atiparaya. So it talks about the surrender, right? So he it all talks it ultimate principle here is one has to surrender to the Lord. And surrender means it's not only just thinking that okay, I surrender and I do my own nonsense activities, but surrender means hearing about the Lord, practicing your bhakti yoga, practicing or synchronizing our day-to-day life in favor of bhakti. So this is all the surrender activities. And surrender has a lot of depth meaning. And Sripad Ramanujacharya, a great Vaishnava from Sri Sampradaya, he has a Chamara slokas, right? So in the Chamara slokas, he says how emphasis on the importance of the surrender. So one first of those is I took from Back to Godhead magazine. First one is found in Ramayana. So in the Kanda, there is a reference here. If anyone surrenders to me even once, Sakrit Eva, saying, I am yours, I will protect that person in all circumstances. This is my promise. So the context goes like Vibhishan comes and surrenders to the Lord, and everyone in the everyone around the Lord Ram thinks that okay, he is he's trying to come in disguise and trying to spy on us. But Lord and Hanuman knows that his heart is pure and he has a real intentions. Because how Hanuman knows? Because when he went to Lanka for the first time, he didn't allow Ravana to do like do more attacks on Hanuman. He talks about he has to be left because he is a messenger. We shouldn't hurt, and he's in favor of Hanuman, and he knows that okay, he just by Hanuman is very elevated elevated soul, as we all know, and great bhakta of Lord Ram. He able to understand the consciousness of consciousness of Vibhishan. So that's why Hanuman is not suspected about Vibhishan's surrender to the Lord. So in that context, Lord says to clear out all the doubt what the other Vanaras have in mind. Okay, if anyone surrenders to me even at once, saying I am yours, I will protect that person in all circumstances. This is my promise. So this is one of the most celebrated verse from Ramayana. So and Sripad Ramanujacharya says the second. The next sloka is from Varaha Purana, with Lord Varaha, Vishnu bore incarnation, making a similar proclamation about Sharanagati to his consort Bhumi Devi, the predominant goddess of the earth. He says, the entire universe is my body, neither birth nor death has any effect on me. When one gives oneself to me, Sharanagati, in brackets, with the firm belief that I am his everlasting support, I think of him at the time of death and rush to his side, even if he has no control over senses, with this body appearing like a log or a stone. I led him then to my supreme abode, where he performs eternal service unto me. So this is one of the most profound verses. In the purport, he mentioned that Lord arranges all the, arranges everything for the devotee who sincerely performs the devotional service. How he arranged, and he also promised in the Varaha Purana in the discussion with Bhumi Devi, saying that he will personally come and um, at the time of that he will be making sure that he remembers him, and he has all the arrangements made to come back to the Godhead. And the third sloka is the most famous one, which is it is from Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse 18.66, Sarvadharman Paridhyaya verse. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful activities, and do not fear. Prabhupada's commentary is very illuminating here. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion: the knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, um, knowledge of the different types of orders and status of social life, knowledge of renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense, and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of reaction, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. So, yeah, that's one of the ultimate principle is the surrender, and being and the Lord will take care of the rest. And these three charma shlokas, they give importance of how important the surrender is and how the Lord will protect and reciprocate to us. So yeah, we went a bit over time. I took an advantage of being a Saturday, and also this verse being a lot of wonderful points to discuss, and as a long purport, so I went over time. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. If anything I misspoke, please apologize. And if anything that helped you, it's all because of the mercy of Guru and mercy of Prabhupada. I will hold on to this. I will stop the discussion, and any questions or any insights or any reflections I would like to know. All right, I take this silence as no. Yeah, thank you everyone. Tomorrow being Sri Ramanami, wish you all happy Sri Ramanami, and let's continue to meditate on the Lord's promise to Vibhishan about the surrender and how he protects by taking shelter even at once. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shri Ram.
Yeah, from the verse translation, it looks like it's running away. But from the thing you quoted, Tatyan comes verse translate, right? So we continue to wait for the sea of gods. Just thinking about that.
Sorry, Prabhu, I lost the last part because your voice is.
No, you connected that with the Tatyan comes verse I'm saying. So.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah, okay.
So I think I was kind of appreciating that.
Yes, Prabhu. Right. Thank you, Prabhu.
Like Brahma, what Brahma says, right? So it just, I mean, the example also here.
Yeah, it's I think it's in the second paragraph. Yeah, Tante nu kampam. Yeah, it is well apt for this translation. Yeah, and so it's one of the most celebrated verse for what is the rightful claim. Okay, even not just like practicing, right? So practicing, okay, I practiced, okay, I done 2 hours of japa and arati for Lord. Okay, where is my where is my share of Vaikuntha? No, it not works in that way. It has to be like somehow by mercy I'm doing it. It's up to the Lord. I taken the the surrender and shelter of God, and let it. He decides my liberation. Actually, I suppose I do not even deserve. I deserve even more. And I recall from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where one Lord Mahaprabhu says that, okay, you are not allowed to enter the kingdom of Godhead for 10,000 lifetimes. I don't remember the exact one, but later he inquires what he has to say, and he found out that he is dancing, he's rejoicing, and ask Mahaprabhu inquires why he is rejoicing, even though he told that he will not enter the kingdom of Godhead until 10,000 lifetimes. Then the devotee says that, okay, after, okay, just 10,000 life in the eternity of time, it is nothing. But at least after 10,000 lifetimes, I'm able to get to see the Godhead, and he's so enthusiastic, and he's in ecstasy that, okay, just after 10,000 years, 10,000 lifetimes, I can able to see the God. So that is the mentality of the pure devotee. He doesn't think, okay, for doing this thing, okay, where is my quota? He doesn't ask like that. Yeah, it's very wonderful pastime from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I could recall by going through this verse. We have to take it in an optimistic way, so it doesn't discourage. Thank you, Prabhu.
You may end the call, but whoever is the
Prabhu, sorry, I'm finding hard to catch your voice.
No, I'm saying whoever is the host, they can end the call. I mean, I think Haritwani Prabhu is still there.
Oh yeah, okay. Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.